You talk in the book about resetting with Russia. We've talked about that. Whatever happened to the reset with Russia, it didn't work.
That's just not true.
Okay, then explain to me why the relationship with Russia is so good because of the reset.
First of all, you had a different president that we were dealing with.
Yeah, but
no, it's a significant
difference. But even then, the most powerful figure was the prime minister, not the president.
Well, but he saw an advantage to the reset as well, because look at what the reset accomplished. A new START treaty, because we had one expire, and we didn't know they didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what they were doing. That was in both of our interests. Getting the sanctions on Iran that I worked hard to negotiate through the Security Council that could begin to rein in the Iranians so that maybe we'd get them to the table, which is where they are today. And very clearly helping us in terms of refueling and resupplying our troops. My view is we got what we could from the reset. And it was good for the United States.
Reset had a limited objection.
Absolutely. I mean, it might have had a longer life if Putin had, come back into office with a different attitude. But the signs that I saw, starting with the protests in the streets in Russia in December 2011 after the rigged parliamentary election, and he blamed me for the protests. So it was very clear to me that he was not going to continue the kind of cooperative relationship that we had built up when he became president again. And that's why I wrote a memorandum before he took office, and I wrote a memorandum on my way out the door talking about a different approach in dealing with him. But the reset was successful insofar as it went.
As long as Medvedev was the president.
Exactly. And as long as we had clear objectives. Well, a lot of diplomacy is transactional. I mean,
most of it.
Well, not always, because we do have some, friends and allies with, very clear values that are ours.
I agree. Iran, as we sit here.
Yes.
It looks like it's likely that they're going to have to extend beyond. You'd support that. If what?
Well, I would take a hard look at what the Iranians have been saying, because there have been two messages. The message from the political side, if you will, and the message from the Supreme Leader.
The Supreme Leader has one point of view, and Zarif seems to have another point of view, the foreign minister.
That's right. I do believe that this is serious enough that we should look carefully at an extension. But in return for what? What is it we're going to get from an extension of the talks?
Well, what should we demand?
Well, I think that has to. You can't negotiate in public about that. But
I mean,
what is Iran willing to do to reassure the United States, the West, the P5 plus powers, everyone else who's concerned about Iranian expansionism and nuclear power to back it up? What are they going to do to assure the rest of the world that they are not going to be able to rush to breakout capacity in a relatively short period of time?
Can they make any assurances that are believable based on what they have said? I mean, they've even said that to have a nuclear weapon is against the Quran.
Yes, they have, and they've issued a fatwa about it and all the rest of it.
But now you have the Supreme Leader saying we need 190,000 centrifuges.
Well, that makes no sense.
Of course not.
It makes no sense.
But that's what he said.
He's in a position that may or may not be a negotiating position, or it may be a substantive position. Because it's such an opaque political system, what do we know? I could make the case that he said that in order to make it clear by Zafir and others to the United States and the rest that, come on, guys. I mean, I got this Supreme Leader saying this, and that's not going to cut any bait with you. So how do we get?
You got to help me get it through my own. You got to help
me get it through.
Congress,
et cetera, et cetera.
my own Supreme Leader, my own.
And then our response is, we got our own problems, my friend. We have a lot of people who don't trust you, have good reason not to trust you.
Right.
We have a Congress that is very suspicious. So what are you going to do to help us? And that's the conversation that's going on right now.
The most important relationship the United States has is with China?
No.
Who is it?
The most important relationship we have is with Europe.
Europe, period.
Period.
But the two dominant economic forces of the 21st century are the United States and China. Europe as a whole, but Europe doesn't speak as a whole.
Well, but I had a very good relationship with Cathy Ashton, who was the first high rep for foreign affairs.
Exactly.
The relationship with China is absolutely consequential. And that's not just a semantic difference. We have to have a very clear understanding with China, which is why we put together this strategic and economic dialogue, because they are prone to misread us, and occasionally we are prone to misread them. So we have to keep the channels open. It's a big danger. And when I agreed to let the blind dissident Chen into our embassy, it could have blown up our relationship for years to come. I mean, they stopped talking to people who meet with the Dalai Lama. But because we'd invested so much time and effort into building a relationship, really people to people, official to official, we were able to weather that. And we need to do more of that because it is such a consequential relationship.